The following is a presentation of iRacing on PTR TV. We'd like to thank all of our channel partners for their support. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast. We're 6 races in now, heading into the Rock in the Area Truck Series, and in our 6th race, well, we're going to be looking for our 6th winner. We're 5 for 5 with winners here in 2026 as we head to the 1 mile high bank track, the Rock. Freshly repaved and giving these drivers a whole set of new challenges. Which one of these top-tier drivers will be able to tame the Rock and put it in victory lane? We have 140 laps to find out all of those answers. Welcome everybody to PTR TV for today's coverage of the Area Truck Series here for 140 laps around this famed racetrack. Gonna be myself, Corey Silva, in the booth and in the truck with Dirt here helping me out with all of the calls. So Dirt, you called a lot of this stuff with me last week, including these trucks at the Michigan Speedway. So we're putting the pack racing away, and they're gonna have to drive these things here tonight.
Yeah, they are. Rockingham has always been a very challenging racetrack, but this repave in particular, I've heard very mixed things about it. Some people like it, but I've heard some drivers that absolutely despise this pavement. They say that it makes the track just a little bit too tight, and then of course the safer barrier all the way down the backstretch, making it a little bit more narrow. It's going to be a challenge, and I think I say it every week, but when the drivers are challenged and when they're not having a good time, we are going to have a good time. That's when the best shows get put on.
Absolutely. Having a difficult time is usually something that creates that field filler, field spreading out that we do like to see, because we like to see these races play out, green flag stops, tire wear, all that strategy that brings these races to life here. But let's go over our point standings quickly as we are now 5 races in. Alex Chilcutt up by 2 over Garrett Conrath, Cole Cabry, Jeremy Miller, all separated by less than 10 points. And even going back to the top 10, 33 points, good recovery from Chase Cabry, who, obviously a podium last week to Chase Cabry, but his season was just absolutely cataclysmically bad luck. But he's been turning it around here, and this is a track that he said last week he definitely looks forward to.
Yeah, he's been getting some momentum built up, and if he's been looking forward to this race, then this is going to be the place to capitalize, gain a few positions. Still pretty close overall throughout the top 10 after 5 races headed into race 6. So it's going to be fun to see how this shakes things up, because I don't think we've really gone to a track quite like this yet. We might see some new faces up front, or maybe some familiar faces, as we are still qualifying, and it looks like we've got about a minute left on the clock. It is tight, Corey. Look at that. Jonathan Evans, P2 to Alex McCollum currently. That is 200ths of a second. 200ths of a second back from him, you got Jacob Harberts, Chase Cabry, Cole Cabry. I mean, these guys are less than a 1/10 of a second apart, all the way back to P9, where they are exactly 1/10 apart. This is going to be some tight racing if this is the skill gap.
Yeah, and again, it's going to be a matter of how is that aero push going to come into play, because we saw last night that maybe we opened up about 2.5 lanes, but we didn't open up all the way up to the wall, so they did have to fight that dirty air as they tried to find some real estate, and of course getting that track position ever so important. But we want to thank everyone for tuning in here to PTR TV. Of course, like, share, comment, subscribe if you are new to us here on our side here on YouTube. And of course, if you're watching on Twitch, consider hitting that follow button as well as the subscribe button over there. $5 a month will support the league, give you double points, custom emotes, and those double points can give you some free hot merch in due course. But that'll be the end of qualifying, and we'll have a couple minutes of warm-up here, Dirt. Now, I wasn't privy to anything, so we're going to have to use our old guessing hats if we don't really have a big sample size here at the new Rock. 140 lap race probably can do this on one stop for fuel, but we'll see if the tires facilitate them wanting to do that.
I think 70 laps is going to be a bit of a stretch. I would say closer to 65 is going to be more reasonable for the trucks if the fuel run that I remember from old Rockingham is similar. Now, I know that obviously fuel usage is going to be different with fresh paint. You got more on-throttle time. And with this being tight, that kind of changes the throttle time as well. Maybe they get out of the throttle, but it is 1 mile, so we'll have to see what they can do. Like you said, we're just kind of guessing. We'll play it by ear, see what they do when they come down pit road. But it is going to be, I think, a bit of a strategy race, whatever that turns out to be, because like you said, we get a little bit of separation in races like this, and those are the ones that tend to get dictated on pit road. If you can't get the guy on the track, if you can't run him down, you can gain a ton of time on an undercut. And I will say this, New Rockingham has a lot of tire degradation, so that undercut is going to be a valuable move, especially when you can't really pit without going a lap down or maybe even 2. So it's high risk, but very, very high reward. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, I know last night in the Cup Series, around a second and a half or so between the field, but as you've said, this place is a tire eater even on this fresh surface, and we do know, just due to the nature of how they drive, a lot more sliding the tires, driving it in deep. So typically in these the Nopes cars and here in the trucks, we do burn the tires off. So we'll see how that comes into play. As we get someone in our YouTube chat, cars, we always want to thank Lucky Ducks. And Alex Chilcutt's had a terrible qualifying time. So Alex Chilcutt, obviously the points leader, so it'll be fun watching him come through the field. But actually, another point, I may as well bring it up now, Dirk, because it is so drastic of a point. Qualifying really means nothing here today with the amount of penalties we have.
Oh, we've only got a few EOLs. We got Cody Dempster, Zachary Carr, Danny Ware, Corey Bodie. We got Miller, Cabry, Hale, Swing, Nowicki, Wilson, and Hartman just for the EOLs. Then we've got a couple of drive-through penalties as well. Beckner and Renner. So, it's only 1/3 of the field, Corey. It's really not that much. Nothing to worry about.
And just as we said before, if everybody starts in the back, is anybody actually starting in the front then? I mean, it's kind of like somebody has to start in the front. So we're going to go through our grid. Of course, our grid is going to be brought to you by Central Mobile Homes. If you're looking for a new home, a new shed, or Triple Crown trailer, look no further than Central Mobile Homes, serving Florida customers for 30 years with a plethora of small, large floor plan center designs and Triple Crown trailers. About Okeechobee, Lewiston, and Sebring at centralmobilehomeinc.com. But we'll go over the grid as much as we can basically throw it away. Or do as that driver did at Bristol in practice one time, Dirt, where all the notes just kind of flew out the window while they were turning laps. Because that grid ain't going to mean nothing with all that we're doing to
it. Yeah, no, it's going to be very hard to keep track of. So we'll just go ahead and get through it and see where they would have started with their lap times. But
they will get the pit position. The pit position and pit road, that is still attended to their qualifying time. So that first stall, very important. But if you get any kind of silver lining out of it, here's turn number 2. A lot of wrecks to be had here. That's one of those kind of self-cleaning turns, Dirt, turn number 2 here at the Rock, because really tightens up, and then with that pit wall down to the inside, everyone just kind of gets stuck there and just clogs up the track. Saw that one last night.
Yeah, it can be a little bit self-cleaning, and you got to be very aware, because that is going to be a trouble spot. Those drivers are going to be getting real tight out of turn 4 and turn 2. And when they start spinning down the track, you kind of have to aim where they are, not where they're going, because the track is going to kind of sweep itself down low, get everybody kind of out of their path. We're going on board, and you can see just how right there's a good example. 32 machine getting tight in front of that number 20. They are going to have issues, and it is going to be an issue of awareness for everybody around them when that happens.
And that was Trevor Edwards. He was the one who won last week at Michigan Speedway. Try to see if he can go back-to-back, and we'll see where he qualified in a jiffy. But that's going to be the end of our warm-up here. We ran the whole thing through. No driver sent home. Everybody is going to be starting here for the 140-lapper at the Rock, as that is not what you want to see. Hopefully not in the race here. I think that's just kind of warm-up follies that we got going on here. But That'll be the session changeover here. So we'll go down and we will, in a matter of mere seconds, go give you that PTR TV Central Mobile Homes starting line of dirt. Why don't you lead us off?
On the pole, it is going to be Alex McCollum with a 22.971. Jonathan Evans outside with a 22.998. Row 2 is going to consist of Chase Cabry, the last driver in that 22-second bracket, with Jacob Harberts to his outside, 23.0. Fifth place is the other Cabry, Cole Cabry, Garrett Conrad, P6 to his outside. Not far behind them, Travis Beckner is going to take 7th, Brad Slaughter takes 8th. Running up the top 10, it is going to be Aaron Johnson and Jeremy Miller.
Of course, this is all pre-penalties. We will get sorted up, and you'll see those at the end of gridding. Danny Ware in 11th, Garrett Grant in 12th. He did not have a good Monday night. Dante Curtis 13th, Grant Brown in 14th. 15th, we'll find the likes of Ryan Swan, our Rick's Hot Sauce Chevy, with Brian Noel in 16th. Then we have Jeremy Brown, Kyle Taub in 18th, and rounding out our top 20, Bryce Senesac and Steven Oberstadt.
Looking from behind P20, Chase Swank takes 21st. Cody Dempster, one of those penalty drivers, going to be 22nd. Josh Parrish going to be 23rd. Corey Bodie going to be P24. 25th taken by Trevor Edwards. He's got Ben Pierce to his outside, 26th. Look back to 27th. That's where you're going to find William Hale. Jacob Bell to his outside in that 77 truck, P28. Zachary Nerney going to be P29 in that 66 Make-A-Wish machine. And Ryan Nowicki going to be P30.
And then we'll head back and round out our grid. Alex Chilcutt, the points leader. He's going to have some work to do with Austin Teal to his outside. Chris Seidenfeld and Joseph Swan will share that row with Logan Hartman, Hayden Swank. And finishing things through, again, on time, not on actuality. Forrest Smith, Jeff Wilson. Actually, that'll do it. We'll loop back to the front. Usually it doesn't do that, so that was kind of interesting. Our race details here, sponsored by, we don't have a sponsor for this segment. Fixed setups, as we know. Again, kind of a wash, rinse, repeat, 4 sets of tires. Probably going to be very important here, as you could already see the peel off as these drivers get to the inside and we completely toss our starting grid on its roof.
Yeah, a lot of drivers pulling down to that small apron they are afforded, letting the field go around now. One qualifying anomaly I want to mention was Swan. In practice, he was one of the fastest drivers. He was actually inside the top 3 of total practice lap times. Only qualified back there in 15th, but he is going to gain a few from all of these penalties. I got to wonder if he just took it a little easy in qualifying, knowing that the competition was going to have to take those penalties. He'd be a little bit further up anyways. No need to get too aggressive with it. Who knows? But the lights are still on, so they'll go around one more time after this. I do believe weather information, 90 on the track, which is actually not that warm in the grand scheme of things. Truck shouldn't be slip sliding around too much. 75 in the air, and it's only going to get cooler, Corey. 3:23 p.m. Sun is on its descent, and this should improve the driving conditions. Not a lot of clouds, though, so I think consistent track temps overall is what they're going to be facing throughout the night. And I don't know. It's hard to make any predictions. Like you said, we don't really know the fuel situation. And this track being a bit of a wild card with the repave and some of these guys being familiar with it, some of them maybe not being so familiar. It's going to be a night that you really got to pay attention to every lap, because I think they're all going to count.
I'm getting a little inkling here from Adamant. We did ask, what can we expect? What's the hubbub? What's the good word? Says it should be pretty similar to last night. It will get tighter as the race progresses. That may move the groove up a little bit higher, but that's also going to burn that right front tire and really show who can maintain, who can survive here at the Rock. Aero push likely going to come into play, as well as that rear air grief a la Aero loose. So high speeds here at the Rock, still going about $130 through the corners here. So aerodynamics will be of massive importance. But Alex McCollum is going to come through 3 and 4 here alongside Jonathan Evans here, trying to both get their first win on the season here in the Area Truck Series. 140 laps here from the Rock. Who will be the master of the Rock? Who will smell what the Rock is cooking? Green flag in the air.
And we will find out who's going to have the advantage going down into turn one. They're going to be pretty much nose to nose immediately. A couple of trucks way out towards the wall. Going to stay too wide though. Now it's going to be Cabry in that 41, looking low side by side for P2. And there is the first yellow of the night. And oh boy, that's a bit of a parking lot down low. The 70 is involved. Jacob Bell in the 77, the 56 as well. Take a look at an instant replay here for the area truck series and try to discern exactly what happened. I believe it started with the 5 and the 09, and everything else was reactionary. That does happen occasionally. You're trying to get away from a wreck and you wind up contributing to it. We'll take another look going a little bit further back. We'll keep an eye on that number 5 truck. Again, it's that 60 and the 5 coming together. Oh, the 5 gets a little loose, a bump from the 14, and it's just nowhere to go for anybody else involved. Not sure what got the 70 around. That was interesting.
Yeah, I don't even know if we got into fourth gear there, but it is what it is here. Let's go on board with the 70. There was curiosity there. Was somebody around him? Downshift, maybe?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why you downshift necessarily. Maybe just getting on the brakes, but that was a weird one.
Well, good signs here. So, getting loose. I know sometimes the tires get a little greasy, the rubber in the track. You know, you gotta get that truck up to pace, get yourself in the right position. Marbles aren't a thing yet. They will build up over the course of the race, but it is a clean track, but obviously a little bit of difficulty to be had. But there was a change on the front row at least. Jonathan Evans did start there. However, Chase Cabry, Cole got sent to the back, but Chase is now in second. And I honestly think this is the first time he's qualified in a good position, and he's actually been able to start the race there. So we'll see what he can muster. But some heavy hitters behind who are going to want to put a mar into that perfect story.
That they will. And it is, a fresh track, no marbles or anything, but what is the motto, Corey? It's cold tires are cold, and those tires were very cold, and I think that was probably the contributing factor to the chaos we've seen out of turn 2, but hopefully that's just a little bit of lap 1 yips and we get it out of our system. I think a lot of those drivers involved were not really all that damaged. They just got a little bit of bodywork damage, maybe nudged the wall with their nose, and they should be out, no issue. So not a lot of attrition. We're kind of granted an opportunity to get reset here, and hopefully the mindset is good. Going to be the number 1 truck of Alex McCollum on the inside, Chase Cabry in P2, Jonathan Evans, Jacob Harberts, Garrett Conrad, Aaron Johnson going to be the top 6. So here we go. Lights are off on the pace truck. We're going to try it again. Tires are going to be maybe a little warmer than last time, but still pretty cold. And we're going to try it all over again. Barney's got the green flag. He is standing over that fresh pavement, waiting for area to, let's just say, get underway. There it is through the restart zone. And the green flag is back out. We're racing again here at Rockingham. And McCollum with a much better start, able to control the race this time from that restart zone. A luxury he was not afforded on the initial start. That's going to get him clear and away. Chase Cabry falls to third. Jonathan Evans instead B2. Jacob Harbert's going to move up to fourth temporarily, but that's a side-by-side battle.
Yeah, side-by-side battle, and Chase Cabry lost what he had gained there. That outside lane seemingly not where you want to be on these restarts. We finally took a lap off here. Now Jonathan Evans getting right to the rear deck lid of Alex McCollum. And these fresh tires, the best opportunity to pass, the best opportunity to try to evade and drive through that aero push, because once the tires wear, you're not going to have the grip to outfly that aero push. You're just going to be stuck. And you're also stuck if we're under caution.
Yeah, you're not going anywhere quick with that yellow flag in the air. We'll, again, try to identify it. 2 cautions on the night. PTR TV instant replay. What was it this time? Ooh, a little bit of throughout action. The 35 gets a little bit tight. The 71 not affording him a lot of room, and unfortunately paying the price for it.
Danny
Go
Ware.
a little bit further back so we can see the beginning.
Danny Ware was a driver who had a penalty going into today. He was one of the EOL drivers. So that's not going to be good for his tenure in that situation, because I don't see any. I mean, we'll see what admin calls it, but I'm just going to easily kind of assume +2 on him there because it was known that they were too wide. But we'll see what admin calls as we'll try this again.
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough one. I don't envy the admins because they knew they were actually 3 wide momentarily, and I don't think he wanted to get tied into the guy. I think it was just one of those situations where we're going into the corner. We're both feeling a little bit more confident than we really should. The guy on the top is confident that the guy beneath him is going to hold that line, and the guy on the bottom is confident that that car is going to hold that apron, and unfortunately neither was true. And so the confidence turned into a little bit of bruised egos there, and it's a rough situation. I would call it a racing deal, but a racing deal caused by aggression that, you know, on lap 6, maybe a little bit much. Who knows?
Yep, and that was, I believe, Ryan Swan driving around and getting a lap back. Oh, no, Chris Seidenfaden, pardon me. We do have Travis Beckner and Ben Pierce 1 lap down. A couple drivers in the pits as well. Probably getting some damage fixed. You can see that damage already to the left front of Ben Pierce. And the 60 of Alex Chilcutt. Again, that's big because that's our points leader. So if he has damage, well, that has implications here. But we'll see what happens as we go back to live pictures up front. And we'll see if we can. I mean, we went from getting a quarter of a lap in dirt to about 2 laps. So, you know, we're slowly progressing. We'll get there. We'll get there.
And, you know, if it keeps going exponentially, you know, we'll get 4 laps this time, then 8, and then, you know, we'll progress from there. But I do want to say those cars coming down pit road, that tells me that my prediction of them being close to making it a 1-stop was pretty accurate. I don't see any reason for anybody to pit unless they're trying to put a little fuel in the car and make it a 1-stop. That being said, I think the fuel mileage is going to be hard to predict because if we keep going at this pace, you may never have to pit. You might make it the whole way with the fuel mileage of a family sedan. But we'll have to wait and see. Green flag comes back out. Alex McCollum with another burner in his start. But look at that, Jonathan Evans. He got a better start. Jumps down in front of Cabrey. I mean, that couldn't have put a sheet of paper between him and the truck behind. And he's able to take P2, applying the pressure to the leader. And further back, here goes Mr. Harberts, Garrett Conrath, and Cabrey. 3 cars under a blanket trying to sort out who's going to take position. And there we go.
What in the name of Davy Jones Locker?
What on earth could have... I mean, that's the entire back of the field. Oh, my goodness. Oh, no.
I mean, forgive me, folks, because we're going to be dissecting this one for quite some time here. I don't really know where to start.
I couldn't tell what truck.
Okay,
it's ahead of him there.
The 7 of Brian Noel.
7.
And then this is the truck series, but is that a little bit of ARCA brakes?
Maybe a little bit, but let's take another look at it here.
Watch that number 7 in the middle. All right, 6.
Not clear.
06 trying to squeeze in the top, and then I think at the end, like you said, it's just all reactionary. The amount... I'm trying to be nice there. This is our series that I don't roast them too hard on. I said hard on. This is the series that I don't roast them too aggressively. But 06
almost
just...
a blowover at Rockingham. That would have been not on that bingo card, but I would have been impressed. And the number 3 winds up with the rear deck lid on top of the number 7, and the 7 drives away. It doesn't even look like he got that in.
I'm trying to figure out 06. Who is the 06? That's Austin Teal. Okay, so we'll zoomy back a little bit. From that perspective, who's right, who's wrong? I mean, that's one of those I don't envy admin calls, but...
That's one of those I'm not touching it with a 10-foot pole calls.
Yeah.
For the booth.
All right, we got... Admin here is typing up some stuff here, so once we get those details, we will inform you guys. And calling it a racing deal, which at that point it was. Now, the residuals of that, I don't know if they were a racing deal. There was guys coming into turn number 3, bowling pin people at full speed. At least that's what it looked like to us. But how do I reference bowling pins into an ad read of some sort? Well, it'd be a perfect strike if you went to shop.areairacing.com and bought some high-quality merch at low prices with t-shirts, hats, Adidas clothing, and other accessories. Easy to shop, quicker to ship, better to wear. Shop.areairacing.com and get yourself a strike. Buy 3 items, maybe get yourself a turkey. That's where that reference is going. But we'll try this again. It's been just a complete shift of second place, though the 26 of Jonathan Evans was able to sneak in line behind Alex McCullum last time by. We'll see if he has the same timing to execute that this time through, or can Chase Cabry fill the spot in for P2 in the restart box. And I don't know if he's going to clear. Yes, he will. Evans kind of has that timed out pretty well.
Yeah, Evans been pretty much on it on these restarts. Cabry, I think, given a bit of a courtesy lift there. He actually had a really good run through the corner, and I think he just had nowhere to take it. So he's going to back up to the bumper of Harvick's. We're going to go single file out front, but that is not going to be the case a little bit further back. We're seeing some trucks fan out. There is Jeremy Miller in that 30. He is right alongside Brad Slaughter. Ryan Swan behind. Ryan Swan and Jeremy Miller being bumper to bumper. That's a scary situation. Those two got a little bit of history this season, all the way back in Daytona. And, you know, that was a long time ago. That was 6 races ago, Corey. But race car drivers, who was it that said they got the memory of elephants? They just never forget.
Sure, that was old Jimmy Spencer. How are you forgetting that? They had to almost you forget a Jimmy Spencer reference. I'm losing faith in the world here. But here's Chase Cabry working his way through all of the hoopla. He's managed to nearly knock on the door of a top 10 here, right in front of him. He is stuck behind the 46 of Jeremy Brown, who's washing up the track into Corey Bodie there. And Bob's your uncle. There goes Cole Cabry getting 2 positions in one corner.
Big props for not wrecking right there for Corey Bodie. That was a bit of a scary situation, to be sure. Getting sideways like that, but a little bit further up the field. Here's these two again, side by side, Brad Slaughter and Aaron Johnson. Johnson's going to get a little bit squirrely out of the corner. They nearly come together, but so far able to keep it clean down through the tribal into turn 1. So that bottom groove is going to be real good in the center, but if you can rock that high line, you do get a pretty good shot out of the corner. Unfortunately for the 78, it's not going to be good enough. He is going to concede that position fully to Slaughter. Now he might be giving up another one to Jeremy Miller. He's going to sneak in there. He saw the door opened up, and he said, hold that thing for me. I'm going to come through too. And it seems like right now, early in this race, Corey, high groove is kind of a death sentence. I mean, he's kind of bleeding at pace, and everybody else is on that bottom groove.
Yeah, which is a complete opposite of what we saw last night, where you didn't want to be on the bottom. So again, just the difference between those next-gen cars, bigger wheelbase, more downforce. They can really plant themselves in the corner. Now you have the older style vehicles where you are sliding a lot more. You have a little bit more yaw into it, a little bit more wheel into it. And now you want to be on the bottom, but at the same time, this is what slides the tires. This is what degrades the tires. So we'll see how the stopwatch reacts if we can put ourselves a little bit of a run together. Going a little bit further back, obviously Austin Teal, just saw him front and center in that little faux pas on the backstretch, battling with last week's winner, Trevor Edwards, trying to rock the outside, and again, tight quarters off a 2. Into the wall, I believe, was one of the 2 of them, but we all keep going.
Yeah, I tell you, these guys back here, they've gotten squirrely a couple times. I know that 24 in particular, Cody Dempster, he's kind of been struggling with the handling of this thing. I watched him in the hot laps, and I watched him in quals, and he was about the only driver I saw repeatedly getting loose rather than tight. So I'm not sure what he's doing driving-wise. But here we go, another battle that Aaron Johnson's going to be involved in. This time it's Ryan Swan down low. And behind, we're riding on board with Josh Parrish. He's got a front row seat to this battle. And I tell you, I think number 20 is going to get this done. But Parrish actually not doing too bad on that high groove. He's been kind of battling this 54 for quite some time of Cole Cabry. And every time they get to the straightaway, he's able to pull out just a little bit with that extra momentum. So he's got something figured out, I think, that maybe Aaron Johnson hasn't quite got on that high group, because here comes yet another challenger, Dante Curtis in the 03, trying to make his presence known. And Parrish is going to duck in line behind him. I think he might actually make it a 2-for-1 special here. Yeah, he's going to get to the quarter panel before they even get to the corner. At 78 is either doing some real saving. I'm almost to the point where I think this might be intentional, Corey. I think this might be a little bit of saving.
That or the truck just doesn't have a grip of it in the dirty air. There's no clean air to be had if they get around Ben Pierce, who is heavily damaged and off the pace here. But what I am noticing, I think because of how tight these trucks are, when you try to run that high line, especially through 1 and 2, it's very important that you can cut and drive it down the hill to A, get the run, to B, to evade the fence. And it just seems that they're too tight to where they can't evade the fence, and that's why we're having so many issues over there. 3 and 4, again, we're just seeing them kind of run the bottom, which again, that's very rare from what we saw last night, but we'll see the dynamic track system come into play here, the rubber go down quite visually. But up front, Alex McCollum up by 3/4 of a second, driving about a 10th faster a lap than anybody else.
I know that when the safer barriers went into Rockingham, even in real life, a lot of the drivers were complaining about how narrow it was making the racing. The car felt real tight, very little margin of error. And I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, you're a race car driver. If that barrier was not there and you had that extra 2 feet, you would take the corner in such a way, you're sliding up to the concrete wall anyway. You'd still be getting tight because you're trying to use the whole track. And that is exactly what they're doing here.
I know that was a big thing, you know. It's always fun talking to you, Dirk, because you have that NASCAR encyclopedia knowledge. I remember back in 05 or so when they put safer barriers around Darlington, and it was actually a point of contention. Like, Darlington's too narrow. We can't put safer barriers there. It'll make it too narrow. Well, they found a way to drive it, and if anything, they drive Darlington more aggressively with safer barriers than they did without. So, little fun nuances of information. But we have ourselves on a little nice, little sort of run right here. So, I always say, Dirk, you can't, you have to plan your strategy. Do you want to plan a yellow flag strat? Do you want to think ahead for the green flag strat? By no means am I saying that we can plan a green flag strat, but now we're spreading out. Guys are getting into a rhythm here, and we're getting some flow here at the Rock as I think we have a hurricane cloud over the racetrack.
Well, I think we're at a stage in the race where the strategy is going to be in flux, and I don't think you need to worry about it too much until we get further into the event, because with the 4 sets of tires, these guys are afforded quite a bit of luxury when it comes to having extra sets of tires to take when and if they need it. Honestly, with the length of this race, 2 of those sets could be considered a luxury set. So if some of these drivers are going to be taking 2 tires as well, which that is a possibility. I remember just a couple weeks ago, drivers were trying to get it a little bit looser, so they took 2 tires, and they did loosen it up quite a bit. And so they've got plenty to play with here. Only when we start getting about halfway are you going to start thinking about, okay, do I save a set? Do I think we're going to get a late race caution, that I'm going to need those tires for a 10-lap shootout? But until then, I would say don't even stress about it, because you have no clue. This race could go either way. We're on a bit of a stint now where we've been green for a while, but we're going to be getting into traffic. This is not a very large track. It is technically, I think NASCAR classifies it as an intermediate, but it is about a mile, so kind of races like a short track, feels like a short track, and traffic is going to be part of that. So everything's in flux.
And as we saw on the pause that thought,
there we go. There's the flux.
Hayden Swank in the 70 something with his automobile. Who is that? That was the 56 of Kyle Taub, who turned 2 here. Certainly, we alluded to it. It's nothing that I'm surprised about, but that is the corner of trouble here tonight.
Yeah, we'll take a look at it. So 70, losing a little bit of speed on that high groove.
Oh, check up from that
It's
yellow
loose.
truck in front, and that caused a stack up. Who was that? That was the is that the 11? 71. 71 got ahead of checkup, and that just backed up to 70, which backed up to 56. Chase Swank, if I am interpreting that correctly. But here, 34 laps in, and 4 sets of tires. You said that we have plenty on the wall. We really don't have much of a shortage, so why not bolt one of them on here about 1/4's distance?
Yeah, I'd say it'd be pretty reasonable to see some jack stands going up. I would not be surprised if some of these drivers only take right sides, getting this truck a little bit looser. There goes Cabry's jack stand. There goes the leader's jack stand. Left sides go up for first and second, and there we go for third. So it is 4 fresh tires, at least for the top 3. But look at that. Somebody pulled a sneaky on him. Garrett Conrath gains a position on pit road, I believe.
Yeah,
gains 3.
Yeah, everyone took 4 here from the stat sheet, so maybe just not get in the box.
Yeah, he did, and so I'm wondering how he was so quick.
Well, you know how these curved pit roads, as well as a really tight pit road, which the Rock is, sometimes drivers struggle getting in the box here, and it causes them to either overshoot or undershoot. As you can see, the damage to that number 28, we really haven't got to focus on him too much. Travis Beckner, our flagman from Hendry County, some heavy damage to the right front of that vehicle. Yeah, that right front, as I like to say, that right front ain't right fronting.
No, that's heavier damage than I would have expected. Unfortunate, too, because he is usually such a contender. Beckner has had some really good pace, maybe not the finishes, but definitely the pace week in and week out. And that's going to be something that I don't know if they're going to be able to beat that out by the time this race is done and dusted, but we'll have to keep an eye on him, check in every now and again, see where he's running. But that number 1, that has been the car to watch. Alex McCollum stepped out to nearly a second lead before that stint came to a close. Jonathan Evans did a good job of keeping him honest, but was unable to stay right with the tow hitch. He was starting to fade a little bit. Fresh tires for everybody. They're going to be cold tires once again. Pace truck phases through reality out of the scene. And here we go once again. A great start from McCollum. That's no surprise. Race leader dictates the race start. But Harbert's a little bit of aggression here. Oh no, the number 20, the 44.
The track is wet. It's rated over there. They're all sliding. I just like using that line from the 2001 Winston, but I think it vaguely started in the realm of Ryan Swan. Yep, he just got loose on his own. There's Bodie, there's Edwards.
The 44, was that a checkup?
Yeah, we'll go on board. We got the technology. The 44 of Corey Bodie. We'll see what he saw. Do you see what I see? Yes, we do. Yeah, he was loose. He was big loose
by himself.
Oh, he used the wall.
That was just 2 trucks getting. Wow, that 71 truck. Chase Swank, what an evasive maneuver out of Chase. I don't think he got a scratch. I mean, he was in the thick of it.
Oh, what a slalom. Yeah, that was quite a slalom.
Taking the chicane.
Not Garrett Grant. There's, I think, Conrath, who just came to a dead stop. So that is 2 big ones here at the Rock. Now, I'm going to talk about a Hendry County vehicle because it's in our itinerary here, even though they have not been having the best luck. But you'll catch them on this coming Saturday, which I believe is May 8th or 9th, May 9th. And you'll see them live there. Tickets $20 for adults. Kids age 5 and under get in free. Discounts for teens and seniors. The southernmost dirt track in America, close to Florida off US 27, HendryRacing.com. And you'll see Travis up there. And hopefully, for his sake, he won't have to wave as many yellows as we've had to wave in tonight's affairs.
Yeah, hopefully not. We did get a good stint there prior to that second to last caution, but that right there was just cold tires. And, you know, everybody's so tight on these restarts. They know the tires are cold. They know the truck's going to get loose, but I think they're afraid if they give that little bit of a lift, if they try to slow down a bit and keep the truck stable, drivers behind them are not going to afford them any breathing room. They're going to get into the bumper, and so they're kind of reactionarily, that's a word I'm going to make up for the day, staying in the throttle a little bit longer than they need to. It's getting this truck loose and causing restarts on these fresh tires. But with a restart on the books, bit of a cycle through them, not much, but should be a bit better handling on this restart. And it will be a restart coming to lap 41. So it'll be 100 to go. Getting through it, even though the yellows are slowing things down, we are kind of getting a little bit further into the race where maybe they will start thinking about strategy a bit more. And just looking at some of the biggest movers so far, Josh Parrish up 15 from where he qualified, Austin Teal up 18, actually 19 from where he began, as is Hayden Swank after that wreck. He's up 19. A lot of big movers, some of these drivers that started in the back, and they still got plenty of time to make even more progress. Pace truck going to make this violent turn. I don't know if we've noticed this, but when he makes that turn,
oh yeah,
that is
very late.
That is
turn.
extreme. You even see the suspension bottom out. But here we go, through the restart zone. Alex McCollum once again going to get that jump out to the lead. But it's Harberts on the outside this time, inverse of what it was last time. It was Harberts on the inside before. Now he's going to immediately tuck down to the low line. He didn't want to be up there. And don't look now, but here comes that number 30. Jeremy Miller finally found his way to the front. Let's see what he can do with it.
And look at Cole Cabry up there to the top in the 54, trying to get the run on Brad Slaughter Jr., and he will do that. He'll get to the outside, and that was the magic ticket yesterday in the Cup Series. Hasn't proven to be the case today, but he's going to try to wrap it off turn number 2 there, and that's been Calamity Corner. Still can't clear Brad Slaughter. Now he's going to go to the top again. Slaughter will try to wrap the white line, but looks like 3 and 4. The top might be the magic ticket, but look at that 81. He's fighting strong to the inside.
Yeah, he's looking pretty good. Again, that low line seems to be the place to be on fresh tires. I think as the run goes on, the high line becomes more viable. Maybe not the preferred line, but definitely usable. But early on, I mean, you've got to be down low. Here comes that number 03, Dante Curtis. Making a move on Slaughter. These two expect quite a bit of time together tonight in this race. They've kind of been around each other for the better part of these 43 laps, and they're going to be side by side behind him as well. I believe that is Parrish, Dempster, and Ware a little bit further back there. But Parrish, also a driver, like I said, he's gained quite a few positions. He seems pretty stable all night. Not a lot of handling issues. Every time we look at him, seems like he's pretty comfortable. So he's going to be a driver that if this run goes on, I'm going to be keeping an eye on. But a driver who lost some positions on that pit stop there, Cabry, he's now in the thick of it. He's further back than he has been. Maybe throwing a little bit of a block there on the 06 inside of the 78 see who is in the 78 there. That is going to be Aaron Johnson. And he's going to make the move up to the high line behind Swank. And they got it sorted out, but I'll tell you where they don't have it sorted out, Corey. It is up front. For the first time all night, I think Jonathan Evans might have found out whatever it is McCollum figured out, because he is right there.
And you're going to see even that little bit of a foot or so to the inside through 3 and 4. McCollum missed the bottom. The 26 got down there. That little bit, believe it or not, will make the handling that much better for Jonathan Evans, just wrapping that much tighter. Now, a little bit different approach. McCollum doing the diamond approach. Enter low, drift up, cut back. Rather, the 26 just wrap the bottom the whole time. And a lot of that just could be getting clean air on the nose. And he ate a bunch of gap there in 3 and 4. And his McCollum IndyCar blocking here mid-straightaway. It is the month of May. Going, taking the low line away from that 26.
Yeah, trying to get him in dirty air, but didn't really cost that 26 a lot of time. Still just a tenth of a second, half a truck length into the corner. And they're both pulling away from Harberts. Harberts was able to get third, and he was able to put a little bit of distance between himself and Jeremy Miller, but both those drivers fading into the background as it becomes a two-truck show. Evans and McCollum, they've got this place figured out pretty well, at least in the short run. But I don't think we've had a run really long enough to see who's got that extreme long run pace. Swank with a very tight moment there. Aaron Johnson behind. Swank able to clear himself. Both drivers being mindful of each other, being courteous. That's what we like to see. That's how we stay green when drivers are able to drive like that. But now on the offensive, the 78's going to go to the low line for once. I think, Corey, this may be the first time we've seen that 78 not in the second group.
Yeah, absolutely. That outside just not really rubbering up either. Now, we haven't had a lot of green flag running, for a long enough section to get that groove heated up and built up. We saw it very darkened the other night in the Cup Series, and you can see a little bit. It's hard to tell here on the darker pavement, especially with the sunshine, but you can see that line building up, and eventually you'd think you'll want to experiment higher up the track, as we've seen Cole Cabry do, who's not. Actually, no, he's 3 seconds back. He's lost touch with even Jeremy Miller and Harbert, so thought that 54 was going to be on a mission, but that mission seems to have tainted out. But luckily for him, again, he was an EOL driver, so now he's just going to be glad to reset in the top 5, where realistically should have been all race. Aaron Johnson, talk about, yeah, he ain't on the low line now.
No, and I don't think that was by choice. I think he got a little bit tight and shot up the racetrack, made some contact with that outside wall. And, you know, we talked about it almost every week, but iRacing does have very realistic cumulative damage. So when these trucks are getting tight and they're giving those little love taps to the wall, they got to be mindful of the long run. And, oh boy, close call there to Austin Teal. Or no, I'm sorry, the number 70 of
Hayden
Swank.
And it's worth noting as well, we do have Jacob Bell. I think I just caught him in the wall there off it too. He is the last driver on the lead lap in that 32nd position with a bunch of damage. So we are ripping this place in around 24 seconds. So if we look out the rear deck lid, you can see coming off of 4, that's our leaders right there. So he is going to get swallowed up in not much time at all, just ahead of him. The 3 truck of Steven Oberstadt 1 lap down, as well as the 5 of Garrett Grant, who is actually on the lead lap as well. So lap traffic came into play last night in the Cup Series, and if we can get this thing on a long enough stretch, it will come into play here at the Rock.
It will, and I think if we're ever going to get a long run, this will be the one, because we've got more separation than we've had even on that other stint. There's a lot less 2 and 3 wide all throughout the field. The leaders, as you can see, just up the road, they're going to be getting into some lap traffic pretty soon here.
Captain Camera here today, Aaron Johnson.
Yeah, he's putting on a show for us. He's kind of on the struggle bus with that 78, and there's Swank. I got a little bit tripped up when I realized there's 2 different Swanks in this race. I was like, wait a minute, no, Swank is in the 71, but no, there was 2 Swanks, and he is going to be in a 2 wide situation. Trying to hold that bottom groove.
There's 2 Swanks. That's not something that I've ever said in my life before, but that is the case here today, as coming to the inside of the racetrack is the Swank of the Hayden variety, trying to battle with Bryce Senesac, who we haven't really talked about here tonight. Grant Brown behind. Grant Brown, I don't think, is on the lead lap. He is not. He is the free pass recipient now, or so to be, in that 33rd spot. I'll tell you, Dirt, I can't tell you how many times this has happened, where you have these caution-ridden races. You're the free pass driver. You're like, all right, my turn's next. My turn's next. And then just by golly, your turn never happens.
Yeah, especially when the leader is just making pass after pass. You don't really want to rely on those lucky dogs on a track like this, where that lucky dog is going to be a revolving door. And the 78 again, getting tight into that outside wall momentarily.
Whoa.
3 wide on the apron. That's not going to be good. The 0-9, very shallow entry. He was forced into it, but he's able to get that truck blowed up. Great defensive driving there. I do not know how that driver, Bryce Senesac, was able to keep that thing from getting sideways when he got back up on that banking. That should have thrown that truck all over the place. But good save. We're going to get back to single file. I think that might have scared him straight there, Corey, because they are now single file.
Yeah, absolutely. Where they're not single file, it's right here in the 10th spot. Dempster has it, and I believe it's Jeremy Brown who wants it in that number 46, that green, gold, and black truck there. Trying to make something happen, and really up to the left rear quarter panel of that 24. That is a risk of a net code or some damage there, but really trying to pull them on back here. You're going fast enough to where aerodynamics does come into play here, wrapping around about 150, 130 mile an hour throughout the entire lap here. But we're getting to that point, to seeing it more trend-like, Dirt, where the inside starting to become much harder to sustain passes. The outside starting to find its groove here, no pun intended.
Yeah, we're getting to that point in the run. We've been green for about 23 laps, so tire wear kicking in, and we've been racing for quite a while, and I think unintentionally we put a lot of rubber down in that second groove just because these trucks are so tight. Drivers are running it involuntarily. So we're putting rubber down, it's getting a little bit more grip, and it's starting to take shape. It's a little bit of a different environment now than what it was at the race start. Lap traffic for the leader once again, going around that number 3 truck. It's going to be one and done. Number 3 did a great job. Steven Oberstadt getting out of the way there. Second place goes by as well, and just as he is going to take that lucky dog position, the yellow flag flies once again.
Joseph
this is heavy damage.
Joseph Swan and Ryan Nowicki had a little bit of a incident off turn number 2, off turn number 3 and 4 here. Let's see, 18 drives it in there, a little bit of contact, a little bit of net code, and then magically reappears into a wreck. So
unfortunate when the net code does not give you a break. Sometimes the net code lets you miss a wreck you should have been in. Sometimes, unfortunately, puts you right back in it. So 74 gets a bit of a nudge, and then just around goes the 18 off the bumper. That may be race ending damage. That is quite a bit, as Marty is frantically getting these guys woed up. Now the question comes, we've been green for 25 laps, and I guess it's not a question, Corey. It's an inevitability. Everybody coming down pit road.
Yeah, which, I mean, we have 4 sets. We're just shy of halfway, so I would expect that it wouldn't be much of a call here. It should just be another 4-tire stop. You still have 2 extra sets on the wall, probably on the very outskirts, if not the edge of a fuel stint here, so yeah, I should be able to actually make the end of the race if it happened to be that way. But let's see if anybody decides to pull the 2-tire card. I really don't see a reason to it. Maybe in the back, but we were far enough green, and we've already seen about a second and a half of fall off dirt. So yeah, it seems like actually we'll have to check, because I see some positions that sort of changed up front, and Trevor Edwards did not stop.
The biggest one being the race leader, McCollum, still sitting in his pit stall.
Oh, no. Did he have a black flag? I didn't see it pop up. Let me check here on the back end. Alex McCollum, no, I don't see what happened to him.
Might have been one of those rare situations where a driver's got to step away from the sim for a second. But that is going from first to last. That is a huge concession. Take a look at the instant replay. Yeah. There goes the entire field.
Yeah, he didn't
working her way around.
He just didn't go. Yeah, absolutely. There's no indication. There's a black flag record that we have available to us on the back end, and there's no trigger of it. So he's going to have to do it the old fun way, which I think he has. Not I think he has the speed to do it, but can he evade the potential calamity that this race has ensued is the question. But Jacob Harbert's currently on the outside, highest he's been here today. Of course, he is a winner on the season. Won at Las Vegas a few weeks ago with Jonathan Evans still looking for his first trip to victory lane. Jeremy Miller, our Daytona winner. And Cole Cabry, our Homestead Miami winner. Going to be our first 2 rows. Coming to lap number 68. Here at the Rock. Let's see what happens. Everybody's on the same set of tires. Everybody has maximum grip in the restart box. And big tire spin on the outside lane from Harberts, but he actually didn't lose much momentum in the process.
No, I'll tell you, Jeremy Miller played very nice there. Probably out of self-protection, didn't want to get anything too crazy going on, but that was big wheel spin. I think this might be the first time the entire field has made it through 1 and 2 on fresh tires without having somebody have some sort of issue. And we are going to make it around to lap 69, and away we go. So that is 1 lap of this restart stint in the books. Jonathan Evans, going back to that number 1, Corey, you mentioned he's got the speed. I agree, but it is going to be tough, because he's got to pass a lot of cars. Probably doesn't know exactly how to angles in the Riviera. And also, you got this to deal with. You got gaggles of cars, 3 wide, 2 wide.
I think that was Captain's camera with a big slide here. I'm going to check it out real quick if I can. Oh, that is an aggressive move by Aaron Johnson. Apron, no bueno here. This isn't Legacy. This isn't Auto Club. You can't run the apron. But he did it.
He did, and he didn't even lose a position. So
and you can't run the apron at Auto Club because it's now an Amazon warehouse, but that's a separate topic.
Well, I mean, it depends on how dedicated you are, how willing you are to get arrested.
Maybe take a forklift,
drive pretty quick through there.
You know, maybe they should do that in the warehouse there. Just make it like a little line on the floor there, but then I think the Amazon robots will get confused. But some semblance of the old 2-mile track, but that's a podcast topic of which we'll probably never start. But I just like saying that wide as, tight quarters enter turn number 1, Slaughter, and the 86, or rather the 56 of Kyle Taub. Kyle nearly into the fence, opens the door for Chilcutt. Get our points leader, who is just trying to recover. I don't think he's been in a couple incidents, but it's cost him all his track position, and he's trying to get it back.
Yeah, he's trying, and he's getting a little bit desperate on these fresh tires, and this is the time to make hay, but at the same time, you got to be careful, because I think when these tires are fresh, that's when everybody else seems to be the most hectic, the most frantic, so you got to be careful working your way through these guys. Looking back at the number 1 machine, Alex McCollum, he's picked up several positions since the restart. He's now P15, hunting down Brian Noel in that number 7. A lot of these trucks ahead of him do have a little bit of damage, so that's going to be beneficial for him to run these guys down. We know that 7's got some damage. Aiden Swank has been involved in a couple bump and runs. That's some damage there, as has Chase Swank. It is the Swank and Swank show, 12 and 13. Jeremy B. Brown, I think, actually has a fairly clean car, but either way, one car making good moves there, and he's going to go to the high line here and see what he got.
And seeing if he can get that run off the corner. Again, that's typically what happens, and if you can get that bite to cut down the hill off turn number 2, and it looks like McCollum has it, but washing up the track is the 70 of Hayden Swank, opening up the door for Noel, and also at the same time, McCollum got a run, and he takes advantage of it. Noel just says, no thanks, you go on by. I don't want to fight for it, which, knowing how fast that one truck is, might be the better decision.
Yeah, I don't think you want to hold up McCollum too much. His patience is probably pretty minimal, and he is making good moves. I mean, he's applying the pressure. I don't think he's outright shoving these guys into the corner, but he's doing everything but that. One more position up on the board. That's one Swank down. Now we've got to get around the other Swank. Chase ahead in the 71. Then it's up to Jeremy Brown in the 46. Who I believe earlier I incorrectly called 44. 46 made a save, and I said that it was the 44 that did it. That's neither here nor there. That's just a late correction that nobody probably even remembers earlier. Anyway, but up front, Jonathan Evans, he's got about a 7/10 of a second lead. That's not really anything to be too concerned with. Harbert's P2, Jeremy Miller in 3rd, Cody Dempster P4, which is interesting. Oh boy. Oh no.
Something happened with Austin Teal, and I was waiting before I cut to a replay to make sure that they'd survive it.
Oh no, it's not over.
It's like a Chris Daughtry song, it's not over. I think they did it right this time around, though.
Oh, but I think there might have been contact going to the corner there.
Yeah, it's going to be in 1 and 2 here. Watch the 81 of Slaughter. He washed up the track, and, well, got to thank the wall there. That wall has saved us from a couple incidents. There's Captain Camera, Aaron Johnson, 66 and Nerney going down to the bottom 3 wide, and this is still not done yet, so we're going to keep on it right here. And let's see, 15 body slams Austin Teal into the wall. I think that's Forrest Smith. And then finally, a lap later, it's all over.
Yeah, Austin Teal's got to be fuming. I know I would as a driver, getting doored, whether or not it was intentional, which obviously it wasn't for either of those drivers that doored him, but I don't think that matters. Just getting doored twice in one lap is going to be infuriating for him. I mean, losing so many positions, getting some damage on the truck that he did not need, having a pretty competitive run, and then just really bad luck there. But going back, here is Mr. Cabry, I'm going to guess just from the hood and the fender. There it is, Chase Cabry, P11, who was up front in a podium position earlier tonight. He just conceded a position to the number 1. We've been following along. Alex McCollum breaks into the top 10, P9, as he makes a move on Danny Ware. So he is really scooting through this field, Corey. I did not expect him to pick up this many positions this quickly. They're going to go 3 wide with lap traffic ahead of him momentarily. That's kind of scary, but they're able to filter down to the bottom of the track, get around him now, reaching him at a much more opportune position. There's the 55. That was an interesting sequence of events there.
Absolutely, that 3 of Oberstadt. I mean, if you're going to catch a lapper, you want to get him in one. I'd rather 3 and 4, because once you funnel down here off the exit of 2, if you have to go 3 wide, even if for a brief moment, it's just that much scarier. As something happened to Brad Slaughter, because he was well off the pace. Oh yeah, something did happen to Brad Slaughter, and Barbie, I think, got sick of throwing cautions, and I'm not mad at it. There's Jeremy Brown got turned sideways, which I guess was...
He saved that.
He did. That will be. We'll validate that in a second with our instant replay here and probably give him an award. Now watch him. That is the 71. It's one of the Swanks.
What a save. And then you get another save out of Slaughter right behind. I mean, that is 2 great saves.
So who do we assign the award to in this situation?
I think they both get the Ricky Rudd Save the Race award.
How did you save that car?
Well, I'm just so daggone good.
Sorry, I don't feel like playing it twice for you, but solid opportunity, solid save there also for the number 81. And again, keeping it green, which obviously at this juncture, super, super helpful to all involved. Now, we do have just over 50 laps to go, and that sounds like a lot, but at 23 seconds a lap, if this is to stay green, which flip a coin, but it's only 20 minutes of racing dirt, so it's not a long time, and we've been on the track for 22 laps. I know you said you were borderline. I think that that's within reason of making the end of this race, but every time I say that, I'm completely off. So I think they might, if this goes green, have to putt it and make it happen. Let's take a look at what the degradation is right now. 1.3 seconds. So it could be a massive risk to try to split it, but I just don't know if the math is going to math. About 42 seconds to pit here that you lose. Well, you gain 42 seconds back. I guess the math probably says no.
Yeah, it's hard to tell what the fuel mileage is going to be without any sort of good data. We're just kind of spitballing here, but I think if I'm a driver, I'm going to try to stay on track because we're on a good stint. We are. But these trucks have been pretty ill-handling, very tight. Got a lot of issues so far on the night, and I just, as a driver, personally, I probably wouldn't trust that we're going to stay green all the way to lap 140. I'm going to assume I've got an opportunity to pit coming up somewhere down the line, but that's just a wager, and it could be proven completely wrong. Maybe it stays green. I know that McCollum hoping that it does, because this long-run pace that he has shown, just picking them off one by one. And they're going to battle in front of him. The 55 and Garrett Conrath, Parrish and Conrath, going to slow themselves down, battling side by side a little bit. And that's going to help that number 1 reel them in ever so slightly. And behind Mr. McCollum, Dante Curtis just gave up position not too long ago, but Dante's been having a really good run. He had great short run speed, but I think this long run's starting to fade just a little bit as he is under pressure from Danny Ware. Keep an eye on him, see where he cycles through. He's been getting some good camera time, putting in a solid, clean run. One of the few drivers we've seen tonight that has not been involved in any sort of incidents, Corey.
Absolutely the case here as this race chugs on through, and we carry on and do some good things here. But someone that we do want to talk about is, of course, the boss man, Mr. Jacob Bell. Not having the best day, but he does have Blue Tip Pool Builders on his machine. You can bring the party to your backyard this summer with Blue Tip Pool Builders. Customize your pool for your unique aesthetic and style. They have skilled craftsmen and cutting-edge tech to bring your pool to life. If you don't have space for a pool, they can do dynamic lounging areas, kitchens, and the like. Head to bluetippools.com for more info. Jacob Bell now 1 lap down, and he has more damage than he has been able to deal with here. But again, Captain Camera Time, Aaron Johnson, if he is... Usually we say this about Jeremy Miller. If you want something to happen, just focus on him. But tonight, if you want something to happen, focus on that 78 truck.
Yeah, he's a trooper. I cannot believe he's even still out there after all the wall taps, the amount of times he's gotten sideways. He is just barely clinging on for dear life out there, but he's made the best of it. Now here we go. It is going to be Dante Curtis on Parrish. Thought maybe that long run pace was leaving him, but he's actually going to pick a position up rather than lose one. He's got that preferred bottom groove. Heavy side draft there. We're going to call it a side draft and not a door. As he is going to move Parrish up the racetrack. Put him up into Parrish hard into the wall. That is going to possibly open it up for Cabry. What does Cabry do? He thought about it. He's not going to be close enough.
Not at all. As a steel block was a... What was that again? I read it, but I didn't read it enough. A steel block dirt late model. I don't know what that is, but he drives a late model, so that's cool. I know there's a many different variants, but always cool to have someone who has that real life experience of some sort. Maybe if we get that VDRA Dirt Series back, he'll be able to turn some laps there. Point, wink, wink to Jacob Bell on that one. But Cody Dempster has had a moment, and that moment allowed Dante to get to the inside, also opening up the door for Danny Ware. This is all outside of the top 10. But again, going back to the front, Jacob Harberts, well, he is not making any headway. Jonathan Evans up by pushing 2 seconds. So while he does that, we're going to do one of the most risky things here that we do on PTR TV, and we are going to do some temporarily loud engines. Well, that is not something that happens too often here on PTR TV, where we actually manage to go a temporarily loud engines without a caution flag. Of course, this is round number 6 of the Area Truck Series. 140 laps here at the Rock. Corey Silva and Dirt in the booth for all of the commentary. It has been a race of trends, and the trends were caution flags for quite a ways. And now we are going green flag here as we have Alex Chilcutt, our points leader, in the pits. I talked about maybe splitting the race in half. We're down about almost 2 seconds, about 1.7 seconds apace. And now we're going to potentially have one of those stay out versus split the race strategy games.
And it will all depend on if we get a yellow flag. Could change things entirely, turn them on their head. But right now, I guess some of these drivers are pretty confident.
Yeah, it is quite a risk. You know, I say it earlier, where there's a point in every race where you got to plan your strat to the trend. And normally it's been caution, caution, caution. But now we're flipping the script. Now the risk comes into play. We saw it in the Cup Series race on Monday. A couple drivers, I think it was David Weishart himself, pit because he thought the race was trending green. And what do you know? Caution flag came out and trapped him and a few others and made their finishes go into the toilet here. But 33 laps to go. We'll see how it all works out. I think the overwhelming strategy is going to be to stay out. But again, I'm wrong quite often, and it's more entertaining when I am. But we are closing in on now 33 to go. In numerics, that's only about 14 minutes of racing dirt. This race is basically in its waning stages.
Yeah, we're in the home stretch now, and just keeping an eye on the battles back here. The 24, Cody Dempster, he was up in third not too long ago. He is hemorrhaging positions. He is going to concede one more to that number 03, Dante Curtis. McCollum up ahead of these boys in P6. He is sniffing a top 5 position. If he can get there, what a run that would be. And if he can get to the front, which he is on the leader's pace, both the leader and him running 25.1s. If he could get up there somehow, some way, that would be incredible. But a near 3 wide. Cabry getting bowled into the corner.
We're getting tight there as we are now. Again, it's not very often that we get to say this, but we are now about 2 seconds of fall off here. 23.2 to basically a 23.2. So that is a big distance. Now, again, 2 seconds a lap, you pit, you're going to gain a lot of time, but you're also going to lose a lot of time. And with every lap that goes by, as the old adage is, you kind of make your bed. And we'll see where Chilcutt falls in the line. Right now, he's running about 24 flats, about a second and a half faster per lap. He is 1 lap down, coming off of 4. He's basically at the stripe right now, our leader. So he is about 1 3/4 laps down. He ain't making that back up.
No, not in 13 minutes of racing, 30 laps on the tracker. It's going to be. It's. I don't see any way this works out. Even if we get a yellow flag and he gets a wave around, that would still be at the tail end, and not that many drivers have pitted. So
I guess the only thing that I have, Dirt, is a potential thing, and if these trucks are as tight as they seem to be, and we're slowing down as much as we have been, there is a plausibility here. And David, I know you're in the admin chat. If you're listening to me. Is there a possibility these guys can actually blow a right front tire and be forced to pit? Because if we are pushing this 70-something laps, we're slowing down well over 2 seconds. Somebody's going to have a right front that's struggling.
Well, they will. They will. It's going to be still going to be a challenge. We'll see how it plays out. That's why they're on the track. I'm in the booth. That's their strategy. So it'll be fun to follow. But Cabry has been getting a little bit desperate, I think, trying to pick up positions, really scrapping and fighting with his 24. Now that can put him up into P7 after kind of falling through the field on a pit cycle, losing quite a bit of positions. He was up in the podium earlier. Up ahead of these boys, it is McCollum, Conrad, Cole Cabry, Jeremy Miller still in third. Seems to be a solid third-place truck. Not quite able to run down Harberts. Able to pull away a little bit from Cabry, so kind of comfortable there. But this is the battle brewing. It is 6 seconds the difference between that number 1 to the leader. He's got 2 positions for the taking right in front of him.
And here's our race leader. He's been up front for 49 laps, so about half of this race, or slightly less than half. It'll be half of it if he pulls the rest of them through. Of course, we will be back here on Thursday on PTR TV and on the Era iRacing Twitch. And we will be back here at the Rock. It is a triple header, and triple headers are the name of the game for the next few weeks here in the series. Next week, all 3 series will be headed to Indianapolis. I mean, it's the month of May. What would it be without heading to Indy at least once? And we're heading to Dover, Darlington, and our All-Star race. So 4 consecutive races here. Actually, no, we're heading even further down. No, pardon me. We have a break after Dover. Then we have a Memorial Day break. But again, Darlington also on the ticket. So next week at Indy, I'll be very interested to see how that plays out with the aero push and the draft. Kind of 2 ebbs and flows. So if you like pack racing, stay tuned. But we have what could be an interesting finish here, depending on how the strategy works out.
Yeah, it definitely will be. And battle for, not a battle, sorry, just more lap traffic. The number 15 going down one to Evans. And that is, oh boy, very tight there between the number 1 and the 14. Again, that is a lap truck, 14 conceding that to the number 1. And here's Swank and Swank. They're going to be side by side into the corner. And
why does that sound like a law firm?
File. It does sound like a law firm, a little bit.
Well, there's Morgan and Morgan, yeah. So if you just kind of repeat the last name, I guess you could be attorneys there. So if only I had a brother.
Swank is just, it's a high class name. I feel like that's like a lawyer, like a banker. Yeah, it's like a, I don't know, I picture somebody with a monocle.
Oh, there you go. I can make some good AI pictures for them if they have that in their interest. Here's Danny Ware, interested in the 8th position, and that is the name of the game. To drive to the inside, drift up, and door the guy ahead of you. I think that has been the common trend of making passes in 1 and 2 here thus far.
And that does seem to be the trend. And you run out of room real quick. You get confident going into the corner, but then coming out, when those trucks start getting tight, the confidence fades away. Bit of a side draft there to the 24. Not going to be enough. He's going to, I think, get clear at least momentarily. Just barely gets clear. That was a bit of a risk.
And here's Chilcutt on those fresh tires. And this is going to be a massive, massive shift in the point standings, as Chilcutt's not even close to getting on the lead lap. He still has Ryan Swan, who is all the way on turn number 2. He is the free pass driver. So even just to get in the free pass spot, Chilcutt has so much work to do. So with only having a 2-point lead over Garrett Conrath, he is going to bleed points here like a Papa Roach song. Wait, no, Papa Roach? Scars? I don't know. I'm gonna stick with the reference. He is going to be bleeding points here, Alex Chilcutt, after this one, unless massive circumstances happen.
Yeah, not looking good as far as the points are concerned. Also not looking good. The momentum has faded for Alex McCollum. He is now 6.9 seconds back from the leader, so he has lost about a second since the last time we checked in, and he has really stalled out behind Garrett Conrath in that 49. He was sneaking up to him. He was getting the bumper, and then Conrad turned on the afterburners. I think this is the consequence. Whenever you're racing your way up through the field, you're driving hard. Eventually, you got to pay the price. Those tires are going to be worse than everybody else's, and that time has come. So barring a caution, he actually lost another position to Chase Cabry right there. So barring a caution, the man who dominated the early stages of this race can be relegated to just inside the top 10. But riding on board now with Cole Cabry, who has caught Jeremy Miller. There was a second between them not too long ago, so that tells you the pace for Mr. Cabry has been very solid. He's just waiting for the right opportunity. This is going to be a tough customer to pass, Corey. Obviously, it is no secret Jeremy Miller is a very aggressive driver, maybe one of the most aggressive in the field, and that applies to defense too. He will not make it easy for you. If you can ring it around that outside, stick to your door, he will do so. With a good run, they're going to keep it wheel to wheel.
And driving into 3, and he will be able to clear, but will that stick? Will there be a crossover? I don't think the 30 has enough in the tank to be able to make that happen. And again, this is the longest run of the race. I guess this would be as good a time as ever to play our little fun game here. A 62-lap run that we are on. Fabulous stuff. And well, Dirt, obviously the first half of this race was not, dare I say, fabulous. But what's your number?
Well, I've actually been counting. So,
okay. Bollocks.
I'm not going to play the game.
All right. Well, let's just give the information for the sake of displaying the information. 6 cautions for 17 laps. So the caution trend's actually longer here today. They were very short. As Aaron Johnson, Captain Camera, hits himself on for the wrong reasons here. I wonder if, I said someone's going to blow a tire. Let me see. Was it him? I think he blew a tire here in turn 1 and 2.
He was definitely off pace, and I don't think he'd be out of fuel, so tire may be a good wager. Yeah, he's going straight up to the wall. That thing is not turning.
Now on iRacing, when you you don't necessarily jettison to the wall as you would in the real world. You kind of, they're still working on that model. So basically you get a meatball flag, you have to pit, even, but the car will just, or truck, will just get as tight as something that is tight, undrivably so. So it would not be surprising to me if that happens to more people. I would be very curious what their right fronts are after the race. If any of their inner, center, or outer portions of their tire hit 0%, they will be required to pit, and their handling will definitely suffer. But right now, whose handling is not suffering or suffering less than the rest, it's Jonathan Evans pushing a 3.5-second lead.
Yeah, if this thing stays green, it's just a simple drive home. Yeah, number 26, still pulling away from Harberts. Cole Cabry, I think, is rear-end Harberts. Might get up to P2 by the time it's said and done, but neither of these drivers really has a chance of making up 4 seconds in only 8 laps. That would be 2 seconds per lap. That just is not going to happen. Jeremy Miller relegated to 4th. Derek Conrad still P5. Chase Cabry 6. Alex McCollum now 8.5 seconds back in 7th. And actually, Cody Dempster about a second behind him. Lead has been closing in slightly. So I think things have kind of settled out. We're single file. 46, a little bit off pace in the middle of the turn. He's coming down the pit road. Smoke on the track. I don't know.
I think the 06 may have Austin Teal. I think he tried to pit and missed, which usually at the Rock, you don't really associate this as a difficult pit road, but definitely was smoking it on entry. He won't be able to pit this time, or maybe he just pit. I don't know what happened, but he has obviously fresh tires because he is ripping the outside like a boss, and nobody was doing that right now. Talked about Chase Cabry moving on up, trying to get that top 5 spot. I always talk about how 6th is good, but 5th is much better, just for the sake of that extra stat in the stat sheet there. So, and he has it right in front of him. Whether he can get it in 4 laps is the question.
Yeah, it was Garrett Conrad that McCollum had gotten up to when his momentum completely faded and he started dropping back. So we'll see if the strong defense from the 49 continues, and he can keep Chase Cabry at bay. A little bit further back, this is not what the leader wants. He does not want these guys going 3 wide. Ryan Swan on the outside. Oh, buddy.
Dented hot sauce.
And they're going to be 3 wide again. Momentarily, they sorted out. I don't know how they got out of there without a wreck, but managed to clean it up, and we're going to be 4 to go. 20 into the wall again. Does he have a cut tire?
He may. He's off the pace. Now, this is 3rd, 4th, and 5th here, but this is coming to 2 laps to go. Chris Seidenfaden to the bottom of the track, getting out of the way, but again, we got to make it to the white. We've used overtime quite a bit here in recent area races in the Truck Series, but the last time we came here last year, final caution was 113 laps to go. They were green flag in season 6. But trend of the race here is 4 cautions. We're slightly above that. Jonathan Evans hoping they can run about 15 more seconds with none of them.
It is going to be 2 to go. He's just got to get around to that white, and we buck a trend of quite a few green-white checkers this season. Coming out of turn 4, Barty's got it in his hand. Will he get to wave that white flag? Yes, I think he will. Final lap here at Rockingham, and it's going to be a parade lap for the current race leader, as he's going to put Nerney a lap down in that 66. Down the back straightaway, there is no pressure from behind, no challenge whatsoever. It is all 26. He played the strategy right. He was able to get out front and stay there. And with clean air ahead and behind, it is going to be another race win for Mr. Jonathan Evans. What a race that was.
Yeah, great finish there. Jonathan Evans getting his first win of the season, and that'll be 6 for 6 here in the Truck Series. 6 races here in 2026, 6 different winners. Some great parity here as what was his final tally here? At 140 laps, he led just over half of them. And we ended up finishing the race that had all those cautions. We ended up finishing it on a 74-lap green flag finish. Alex Chilcutt, our points leader, with that pit stop, he's going to have to settle for 20th. So We'll take a look at the point standings in a little bit, but celebratory activities for Jonathan Evans, deservedly so. He'll burn it on down here at the Rock and celebrating his first victory of the season. But while he does that, let's go down trackside and give you the final rundown of results here today from the Rock. Getting the win, final margin 4.3 seconds. Good old A-whooping there for Jonathan Evans. Jacob Harbert second, Cole Cabry in third, Jeremy Miller and Garrett Conrath rounding up the top five. Chase Cabry with a solid sixth. Alex McCullum led many laps but asked to settle for seventh. Dempster, Ware, and Cow rounding out the top 10.
Outside of the top 10, Jeremy B. Brown with an eventful night. Going to be P11. Dante Curtis had top 5 speed, but that long run did not do him well. P12 for the 03. Josh Parrish, P13. Chase Swank going to be at P14. Brad Slaughter Jr. He was up front quite a bit tonight as well, but some late race activities. Kanzai Drifto through the corner back to 15th. Brian Noel going to be P16. Hayden Swank, P17. Bryce Senesac also with a heck of a save earlier tonight. Brings it home at P18. And you got Nerdy in 19th and Alex Chilcott, the former points leader, going to be P20.
And then Travis Beckner in 21st. Ryan Nowicki 22nd. Garrett Grant, his Rockingham struggles continue, 23rd. Forrest Smith, Ryan Swan. Then you have Grant Brown, Chris Seidenfeld, and Aaron Camberman Johnson here. He was the man to watch here. He was on air quite a bit tonight. 28th, Austin Teal. He had some moments, as well as the boss man, Jacob Bell. And then just rounding on through to the last 38. We have Trevor Edwards, Ben Pierce, Jeff Wilson, Oberstadt, Swan, Bodie, Hartman, and Hale rounding out the grid. Well, let's head down to Victory Circle here with Jonathan Evans for the first time here in 2026. He gets to celebrate himself a win, and we'll drag him on up here. All right, Jonathan, first time this season, you get that 26 in victory lane, started second, finished first, led 74 laps, and once that thing got clean air, man, you were gone. Talk about it.
Oh my God, what a race. Oh, I miss this feeling. I'm just so happy. Winning in this league is not easy by any means, and I'm just super delighted to finally get it done. And like you said, I mean, clean air was just absolutely make or break today. The beginning of the race was fun, battling with Alex there. He was very fast. And that's why I was pressing him so hard, because I knew, like, if he slipped up, I needed to be there in order to get the clean air. And I'll tell you, once he made that mistake on pit road and I got the clean air, I drove it into turn one and I was like, yep, they're in trouble. The car was just absolutely amazing, and I'm just thrilled.
Absolutely every reason to be so, and that'll definitely be a good points day for you as well. I can't see where you were coming in here today, but either way, you're going to have a good points day. Now, just talk about just the strategy of the race. Obviously, the start of this race, we didn't even get into turn one and really got difficulty rolling through. But then once we did, you ended up on a 70-some-odd lap run to the end. How did you kind of maintain and plan and get that truck situated for a long run to the end?
Yeah, I was very happy to get the long run to the end. I feel like long runs, especially around a track like this, really suit me. And once we restarted, I was just trying to build a gap, like half a second to a second from Jacob, and just so I wasn't getting any of his air effects. And then from there, just be mindful of the right front. And yeah, that was basically it. That was just my mindset throughout the day, was just to try to keep the right front on it and take my time, be patient getting on throttle, and find the clean air. And I think we checked all those boxes tonight.
Absolutely, you did. Well, we'll see what you can do next week at Indy, which will be a different can of worms entirely. Who do you want to give the floor to for some shout-outs, man? I know you got some.
Well, first of all, I have to thank you guys. You guys do a great job with the broadcast per usual. I don't know if I had any supporters in chat this evening, but if I did, shout out to you. Hell yeah. Shout out to you guys, and thank you to everyone who's watching, area, the league, and of course, my team owner, Ben Pierce. He's done a lot for me, and we're definitely going to celebrate this one tonight.
Absolutely, man. We'll catch you at Indy next week. Great job.
Yep. Thanks, Corey.
And now Dirt has caught up with Jacob Harbert. One at Las Vegas, settles for a second place here tonight.
Mr. Harberts, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, Jacob, it was not a race win, but it was a great points day. It's a clean truck back to the shop, and overall, just a solid night for that number 80 truck. Tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, I mean, overall it was uneventful for us. Sometimes that's a good thing, especially after last week not being able to make it to the finish. Definitely can't be mad at second place. Good points night. Got the truck clean, so that's just what we're trying to do is make it to the chase, and once we get to the chase, we'll go from there.
Absolutely. Now the driving conditions out there seemed pretty tough for you guys. The truck looked like it was wearing tight. The truck wanted to bolt towards that outside wall on both corner exits. How did the truck feel to you, and how were you kind of navigating not just those conditions, but the drivers around you?
Well, I was, obviously very tight, just like the rest of the field. I was missing something compared to the 26. I was trying to adjust lines and brake and entry points just to see if I could find something, but I didn't know. I was trying to kind of save tire early, but he was pulling away from me. And it seems like it didn't matter, throughout the whole race what I did, trying to, match his times or, hang back, just try and save tire. In the end, I was still about a 10th off a lap, so missed something from the leader, but still can't be mad at second.
Yeah, definitely an amazing run. And before we let you go, Mr. Harberts, any shout-outs you'd like to make?
Yeah, I'd like to thank BMP and 609 Motorsports for the charters this season and getting us right.
Alrighty, thank you for your time, sir. We'll catch you next week.
Thank you.
All right, and now I got Cole Cabry with a third. So, Cole, your race started off rather difficult. Had a good starting spot, but I believe you were on that EOL list, so you had to drive up through the field, which was pretty difficult how this race started, man. Were there any close calls on your trek through the field here?
For sure, that EOL was not fun to deal with, but I just kind of played it smooth there. I knew there was going to be some squirrels in the way, so I just took my time for once and ended up working out.
Yeah, and then of course we end up finishing the race on a 70-plus lap run. Was that something that you were ready for? Did you kind of plan that run to have tires to last the whole duration, or it seemed you did because that truck was fast and making passes to the very end?
Yeah, for sure. I kind of looked once that last pit stop happened. Me and the guys were like, we can go all the way if there's no yellows. So I just played for that because I would hate to be the guy that, goes and then looks dumb falling all the way back. So we saved the tires and ended up, working out at the end and getting a podium run.
All right, I know I've already talked to your brother about the draft-style tracks. I know he's not a fan of it. Indianapolis next week. Any confidence over any tips and tricks you got going in there, or is it just kind of going to be luck of the draw?
Look at the draw. I'm the same boat as him. These drafting tracks need to go. We need to get some separation in the field. I said that after Sonoma. These big tracks are no fun. It tightens the whole field up and makes for good racing, but for you guys, just not too fun for us. So, but we're going to take it one step at a time, and I think we'll be pretty solid in points, maybe point leader or second. So, going to Indianapolis with a good head on our shoulders.
Fresh update here. You are 1 point behind Garrett Conrath on that points chase, so we'll see what you can do, man. Any final shout-outs before I let you go?
Definitely. I want to thank all the guys over here at Ironhead, Chase, my brother, of course, Blake for spotting me, Trevor, just everyone that puts in effort for this league. I'm looking forward to the rest of the season.
Absolutely, man. Great job. We'll catch you soon.
I appreciate it.
Well, that'll wrap up the show here, Derek. The way that it started was not the way that it finished, and we ended up having ourselves a good bout to the end. Jonathan Evans getting the first win of the season.
Yeah, so we are going to be 6 for 6, still looking for our first repeat winner. Makes sense with how chaotic some of these races have been, and even though this one ended on a long green flag run, it did not end like we thought it was going to at the start. So Rockingham not failing to put on a show, and it is onward and upward to next week.
Absolutely. Make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe here on PTR TV. Follow on the Area iRacing Twitch if you have not done so. Stay tuned for our next broadcast tomorrow night with Elbows Out Racing. Then we'll be back here on Thursday with the Florida State Builders Pro Series for area at this very same track. And then we'll roster and repeat and do it all again next week at Indy. But that's going to be Corey and Dirt signing out of the booth. Have a great night, and we'll catch you next time.